now.
So with that,
Okay,
I want you guys
so
to try out these new tools.
We are going to bring this 3D model
Then
of a
later in the second
MacBook
video, I will talk a
into
little bit
Unreal.
more
So,
about the
as you all know,
Unreal's modeling
if
tools.
you're working in Maya, right,
Okay,
you should
so I want
not
you guys
send
to really
in the
try this
file
out.
looking like this. This is a
and
subdivided
I'll stop the
file.
video
If I
now.
press number 1 in Maya, right, this is the
Alright,
actual
so in
resolution.
this,
Now, for this particular
sequence
model,
here,
right, I can leave this model as it
you
is
have
without
seen that
subdividing
I
it.
created a
It
simple
should
shot.
look
So that's what
more or
we're
less the
gonna do.
same without
And
much
I'm going to show you
changes.
some of the
Okay,
additional
but if
features
you want it
within
to
the
maintain the shape while Unreal
look
seeking at a
itself,
higher
so
resolution,
that
like without seeing all this
you can better control
segmented
the
look like
movement of
this,
your camera and so on.
then you know that you
Right,
need
so
to
what I'm going
apply
to do right now is
a
I'm just going to
smooth
delete away
option.
this sequence.
So I'm
and
going to
then
apply a
start from
smooth
brand new
option
one.
on this mesh,
Now,
okay, by one
in
level.
my content folder, you notice I created a
And then
semantics
for this particular cover,
sequence.
I'm going to apply a smooth
and
level.
also
one
I got a preset.
smooth
So what I'm
level
going to do
as
is I'm
well.
going to get rid of all these and start from
For
the
this
beginning
screen,
so that
I
you can
think
see how I've
okay, I
done
must
this
not apply a
exactly.
one smooth
So I'm
level
going
as
to
well.
delete all of this
Okay,
and start from
then
the
the
beginning.
keyboards.
Right, so
okay,
first,
this keyboard has
in
been
order
joined
to
together.
create a
At level 1, this
cinematic,
is what they
you
look
need to
like.
understand a little bit about the
Okay,
camera
and
first.
I think for
Okay,
this
so-
keyboard, because they're so small, I'm going to leave it as it
I'm
is.
sure Mr.
I
Kenneth
don't want to
has
apply
gone through
any
some of the
smooth
stuff with
anything
you all,
to
but
this.
Right
So
now,
this
I only
particular,
have a single camera created in this scene.
MacBook,
I'm gonna press G,
okay, it
so that I
consists
can
of
see the
1,
symbol.
2,
And right now, actually,
3, and
I
4
think-
components.
Where is my
As you
camera?
can see over here,
There
and
it
also
is.
the keyboard.
So I got only
So
a
5
single
components
camera
here.
created for this
So
object so
I'll
far.
be exporting all of this into
Right
Unreal.
now, it is on the world orientation.
But first, I need to
On
export
this
it out as
symbol over
a
here to change it into local
FBX file.
orientation, so you can grab and control the
Now,
camera.
I'm not sure whether you guys
Every
are
time you
aware,
select
but
the camera, you
there
will
is
see
an
what
option
the camera
called
sees
Send to
from this
Unreal.
little window over here.
Alright, and
Right,
you
but
can
if you
just
want to
set a
see what the
project,
camera is
set your
doing,
Unreal
so you
project,
click
and then you
on
can
the
send it to
viewport and then change
Unreal
to camera
immediately.
extra.
Alright,
I'm
so
currently
I
in
don't
the
really
view
try this
method
that
known
much.
as
Okay,
cinematic.
you guys can go and figure
So
this
by
out yourself. But I'm
default,
going
this
to
is
use
the
the
default
FBX method.
viewport. But
So
if you
I'll
want to
select
see
all
what the
my
camera is
pieces.
seeing, normally you switch over to the
And make sure that
cinematic
they
viewport.
are frozen. Okay, right now you
Okay,
can
now
see
the camera, the virtual
scale
camera works
especially.
just
Make
like
sure
a
that the
real world
scale
camera.
are frozen to
And
111.
If you have the camera selected,
Okay, this one is not
within your
frozen, so
outliner,
I'll freeze
let me
this
just
to,
reset the filters a bit.
111.
Now, as you populate your scene, right, your
Okay,
outliner
and
will get
delete
very
history.
crowded. There's a lot of items, and then sometimes it's very difficult to keep track of where the camera is located. So the easiest way is to use the filter over here.
And you
Click
will
on the
notice
drop-down,
that each
and
of
then
these
filter to
objects,
only
right, has
cinematic.
its own axis at
And
this particular
now
location.
only
Now I'm going to show you a
cinematic
potential problem, right, in
items
Unreal.
are listed out
That
in the
is,
outliner. And in this case, our
if I try
camera.
to export
So
this,
you can
right,
easily select the camera.
the pivot
So now
location
we
will
can
always
access
be
the properties.
repositioned
the
to the
details.
origin position.
Under the camera
Right,
actor,
and the reference I'm
so
going to
remember in Unreal,
gonna get rid of
everything
this
is
reference. I'm not send this
referred to
reference.
as an actor, so the
If
camera is
I
an
switch
actor.
this
So when you
to,
click on it, right, you can see all its previous settings over here.
if I
And
switch
if
this
you
to
take a look
wireframe,
at the lens setting,
and okay,
you
I
will
think I
see that
hidden
this
my
camera,
grid,
the
so I
minimum
don't see it.
focal length
Yeah,
is
because so you can see this is
4
my grid.
millimeters, maximum is 1,000.
So if I were to export this
This is
object
like the
over
wide
here, you
length and the zoom
notice the
length.
pivot point is here, but when it
F-stop-
goes into
F-stop
Unreal, the pivot
controls
point is
the
going to jump
hole
over
or
here.
the amount of
Now, in
light
the
that
previous
goes into the
demonstration that
camera.
I've
It also
shown you,
control how much blur
When you
your
export
camera
this
can
out
create.
as a scene,
So in
like
this
when you
case
export
right
it
now,
out as
it
a
has a
scene,
range of
most of the
1.2
objects will
all the way
still
to
has
22.
its center preserved.
So for those of
Okay,
you
but
who
let's
know
say if you
photography,
imported
right,
in an object, right,
f-stop
by just
number
simply
that is
selecting all
smaller
this
means that it lets
and
in
then
more light.
export it out
So
as
it is
a
bit
FBX,
counterintuitive. That
Okay,
means
so I'm
the
gonna call
smaller
this
the
the
number,
MacBook.
the more light goes into the
Yeah.
camera.
so
The
this will
bigger
be
the
exported
number,
out as
the
an
less light
FBX,
it goes
and
to
then
the
we'll
camera.
export it into
Okay,
the.
so just remember
selection
this.
here,
Smaller
that's fine.
number means that you can get very nice blur effect.
So now it has been
Higher
exported.
number means
Now I want to check whether
get
my export is
everything in
working,
focus.
so I will go to
Right, so this is the range that is set up. Okay, there's even diaphragm. Like
Go to the folder
you can
containing
simulate
the
blade
file.
count for the,
here. Then I'll double click to
camera.
open it.
So
Now, you know
under
that
focus settings,
Windows, right,
we
has
can
a
do things
FBX
like
viewer
we can
built in.
focus on what the
So if you
object is
cannot
seeing.
see it, please
sure Mr.
remember to
Kenneth
go
covered
over to
this on the
settings
rack focus
and
area.
enable open FBX file.
But what we are interested in is
Right.
this part here.
Alright, so it
the
works.
current
So now I'm going to bring
temperature.
it to Unreal.
The current
I'm going to bring it to
temperature,
the
if you take a look
same
at it,
file
right,
that
is
I was
set
working
at
on while doing the
22.
animation.
So that means, right, no matter where I aim my camera, right, everything
Okay,
will
I want to
always
show
be
you
in focus.
one thing about. Okay, this is
But
from the previous
if I were
file
to
where I
set
was
a
demonstrating the
ridiculously low
animation.
number, okay, the
Now,
limit is
if you notice
1.2.
that you cannot change
So
your
I set
view
1.2.
Okay, so
And
after
then
you have
I
rendered
set
out your
my
scene,
focus
right, just
by
make sure that
clicking on
you
this
unlock
eyedropper
your
onto
camera
the
view from your
glass. Alright, I should be able to
sequencer.
get the focus.
So if
right,
you
just
never
focus
unlock
on
it
the
right,
glass,
you will not be able to
but then not on
navigate the
objects,
window again.
out in the distance.
Alright, so I'm going to change this back to my default viewport. Okay, so
Okay,
now
you
I'm back to
notice
the normal
blur
viewport
doesn't
of
really
the
work. Okay, this
Unreal
is a
again.
viewport.
Okay, so
called
I'm going to
viewport,
bring the
error,
laptop and then
Okay,
put it
maybe
here.
even
So let's
5.2.
import
This
in
is
the
5.2,
laptop.
I believe.
So I'll go
using.
over to my,
So
I'm going
you
to close
can
this
try
sequencer,
to
I don't need
get
it for
this
now.
blur to work by toggling between
I'm going to go to my content
the
folder,
viewports, and
going
then switching
over to
over to
imported, and I'm going to import my
cinematic viewport. Okay,
MacBook.
now I'm gonna
Okay, so I'm going to
take
create a
look at
new
it again,
folder,
and then do my
just call it MacBook. Because
my
they are,
focus,
it
and
is
then
made
you
out
see
of
the
different
focus,
parts,
right,
so I want to keep
not
everything
really
imported
behaving.
within
Okay,
here.
now,
So
if
right
I
mouse
click on the
click,
numbers and
import,
manually adjust
and you
the
notice
shape,
this is a
you
different
can
way
see
of
now my
importing,
vase is
rather
in
than
focus,
import
and
file,
then
import scene.
everything else
Okay, the previous
is
method you
blurred
all
out
learned is file.
because of this aperture.
Okay, import into level.
Now, if you
For
want the
me,
blur
I'm
to
going to
be
right
even
mouse
more
click,
extreme,
import
we can change the range
into this
minimum
folder.
f-stop, right?
So I want to
bring
look
it down
for
to
the
1.
MacBook,
And then my current aperture, bring it
MacBook
down
Air,
to 1.
and then open.
Aperture and
Okay, so I'm going to
f-stop,
keep
right,
everything
is
as
the same
default,
thing,
and
f-stop and the aperture.
I'm going to
this
enable
refers to
this
the
thing
same
called Build Nanite. Right, so Build Nanite will be good, right, if you want to like put in
Okay, the reason why I call it
very
as,
detailed objects,
aperture,
multiple
because it
detailed objects,
controls
right,
the
at
size
various
of the hole.
resolutions. So I'm going to
Right.
enable this,
now,
and,
some of you might
scale, I'm gonna
face
keep
this
it at
problem
1.
with transparent
And
objects.
everything
I
else
see
I'm
a
gonna
lot
leave
of
it as it
students
is.
facing this issue.
And then I'll
That
say
is,
import
if you
all.
have a lot of glass objects in the distance,
And I'll see what is the
it
result
still
going to be
remains
like.
in focus, right?
Okay,
You
and
might
then I'm
want
going
to
to close
change the
this.
glass properties
So I have my
to enable a
MacBook. You
setting,
can see
right,
that
so
the MacBook is
everything
made out of
right
the
will
5
blur
components that I've
correctly.
exported.
So
So
what
in
I'm
order
gonna
to
do
bring
right
in the
now is
MacBook into the
I'm
scene,
going to
I have
select
to
this
select
glass.
all the components.
And also, you
drag
notice
it,
sometimes
and then
when
drop
you try to
it
select the
into the
glass
scene.
objects, right?
You can see
You
my
can't
MacBook is
select them at all.
very tiny.
Okay, I want to show you this tip right
Okay,
now.
and then
If
we're
you
going
press
to
T, T
observe
for
what is the
transparent,
center point of each of these objects.
then you realize now you
Right,
can
so I
select
will
glass objects
press
again.
F to go
So
to the
if you
center.
ever have a
I don't want to
situation
duplicate it. So if I select this
where you cannot
MacBook, you notice
select
that
any
every
transparent
component,
object,
right, the
just
pivot
need to
point
press
has been
T.
messed up already.
Now I can select the
The
vase.
pivot point is no
Then I can go
longer
over
at the
to
center
structural
of each of the
properties,
objects
double-click
or in the original pivot point
And under
location.
the glass properties,
So that's
right,
where I want to
if
show
you go
you
to the
how we
main,
can fix this problem.
options of the glass
This problem
material,
can be extremely annoying.
I believe it's
Okay?
this one.
Now for this main object is still not so bad, but let's
Okay,
say
so
for
glass
this
material
screen
is,
over here,
This glass material is a bit
I want the
unique. It
screen
doesn't
right to
have
be
a
able
main
to
material
rotate
output.
at the edge here, but I can't do
So I
that right
don't-
now.
okay,
I have
there
to
it is, this
move
one.
the
This is the
pivot
main
point to the
material
center
output.
here.
So you need to
Now, in a
scroll
lot of
down,
video
select the main
tutorials
material.
online
For yours,
and
right,
on
it should be a big
even the main
chunk like that. Let me see what I can
official
open this one.
Unreal demos,
Yeah, I can open
they will
this.
tell you, you need to hold down to Alt,
Yeah, so for
hold down
glass,
to the
right, the
Alt
blend
key,
mode is
and
translucent,
middle mouse
for
grab,
renting,
and then push the
translucent
pivot
is
here,
fine. Now,
and then
you
right
need
mouse
to,
click, and then change to pivot, and then
scroll
set a pivot
down and then
offset.
look for value called
And now you can
UF,
see I ended up selecting something else and it didn't work.
depth of field.
So this kind of pivot changing, right, is super
Yeah. So look
inefficient
for DOF
and
and then
very,
instead
to be
of
honest,
after
bloody
DOF,
annoying.
you change it to before
So there's a
DOF.
better and easy way to
Okay,
do
then
it,
we apply
but you
and
have to
this
use the
should
tool
fix
called the modeling
focus
tools.
Issues, right, for
In
all
my
the
option, right,
transparent
I already
objects.
have the modeling tools enabled.
Right?
Okay,
So
so
if
if you don't have your
glass
modeling
objects
tools
in the
enabled,
distance
please
and
go
they don't
over
want
to
become
plugins,
blur like that, like what you see
search
over
for
here, then you
modeling.
enable that setting which I showed earlier on. Alright, so far my
and make
depth
sure
of field
your
is working
modeling
because I'm using
tools,
a very
okay,
low,
modeling tools editor mode beta is enabled.
So right now,
So
I
turn
want to
this
show
on
you
and then
is,
reset your
like how do you animate
scene.
the camera, right?
Okay, so
Starting
it shouldn't
from
take too
one
fast.
point to the
So
end
once
point.
you have enabled
Okay, and I
the
wanna show
modeling
you some
tools, you should
additional
see
features.
this modeling
Okay, right
option
now,
available.
I realize that
So now I'm going to
everything
show
is
you
blurred.
how
I
we
don't
fix
want
the
that. I
pivot point.
decided, okay, maybe I want to
You go to modeling
select my
first,
camera again.
right, and then you
Go
see
over
all
to
this
the
modeling menu.
aperture and change it
Now
back
I'm
to
going to
22.
organize it a little bit
So
because
when
right
I've
now
done
it's a
that, you
bit
see everything starts to
disorganized.
become
I'm going to grab the
focused
tab,
again
left mouse
because
click
I
and drag.
reduced the size
Then I'm going to
of
put
the,
it on this top tab over
aperture.
here.
Now you guys can try this experiment on yourself.
Okay, wait for it to
If you
reorganize.
try to
Okay,
close
then
your
that's fine.
eyelids,
Okay,
right,
now
those of you who wear
how do we
glasses,
change
cannot
the pivot
focus
point
in the
using
distance.
the modeling
You can
tools?
close your eyes a little bit.
Very
right?
simple. There
You'll
is
notice
a
things
option
will
called
start to be
pivot.
more in focus.
There it is.
So this is exactly
Under
the same
transform.
principle here.
So select the
Alright,
object
so
that you want to change the pivot
right now
point.
I'm going
point.
to position my camera to start
Click on
from
pivot.
the angle here like that.
Alright,
So
and
now
then
we want to
over
animate
here
the
under the
camera
modeling options,
and
you will see that
render
there are
it
many
out
options
as a
available for
movie
you.
file. So before
Also,
we do
in the
that,
3D
let's
view,
organize our
you will
content a
see
bit.
this
We create a
manipulator
folder
where you can
especially
manually
for
move
our
the
cinematics.
position of where
So
you want the
I'm
pivot
right
to
mouse
be.
click in my content,
You can even rotate the
and create
pivot
a
point
new
if you want. Okay, let me undo that.
cinematic folder.
So,
And
I'm going to
rename
use
this
the option
as
here. You can see a bunch of
color
text over
to
here. It makes it really,
color.
really
convenient.
Go inside the folder.
I can
and
click
the
on
first thing you
center,
want to do is to
boom.
create a
Now it's
sequencer.
in the
Right mouse
center.
click, go to
I can click on
cinematics
bottom,
and
boom.
create
Right, it's
another
at now it's
sequence.
at the bottom of the mesh.
And this sequence, right? I'm gonna
Then once I'm
rename
happy
it.
with it, you go over to the
Okay,
bottom of
right
the
mouse
3D
click,
view
rename
here
or press
and say
F2.
accept.
I'm gonna call this my master.
You're done. So now,
sequence.
when I rotate, you can see I can rotate this frame,
Okay.
okay,
so
or actually the
once I
cover
have
lah.
my sequence done,
And then I'm going to
since
do the
I
same
already
for the screen
only
over
have
here.
one camera created.
Select the
You can
screen,
go to the outliner,
go over to pivot, under
drag
transform.
and drop the
Then I'm
sequence
going to click
right
on center
into the
for
scene.
this one.
Now by default, right,
Right, I'm going to do the same for the
entire
keyboard.
sequence, right, will have
For the
5
keyboard,
seconds.
okay, before I do
Now,
that, I need to hit
I've
accept
actually
first.
changed my
Okay, select the
timeline
keyboard,
display
click on the
from
pivot,
frames
then I'll say
to
put it in the
seconds.
center,
So
then
where
click
do
on
we change
accept.
that? And also my auto.
So you can see this is a very fast and easy way to
If you
reset your
click
pivot
on the
position.
drop
It's like
down,
center
I'm
pivot,
playing back
exactly
at
the same.
25 frames per second.
Pivot,
But if you
center,
click on the drop down, there
and
is
then
this
accept.
thing. There is this
Click on the
option
main
called
body,
show time S.
pivot,
Let me just bring this a bit
center,
higher because it's
and then accept.
you can't see the whole menu.
Okay,
so
that's
you click
it.
on the drop down here.
Alright,
there's a
so
show time
now,
S.
if you want,
So
you
rather
can
than
actually
showing it as
organize
frames
your
for the
MacBook a
default,
little bit.
You sometimes
Okay,
can change
so
it to seconds.
we're going to do some
So it's easier to see.
parenting
Now I have
over
exactly
here. So
5
we have the
seconds of
MacBook
footage.
body. So I want the MacBook body
I'm gonna
to
leave
be
it
the
as it
main
is for
parent
5
in the
seconds.
outliner. So I'm going to
And
select
then,
all the
let's
items,
take a look when we
and then I'm going to drag
drag
it
and drop
and
the
put it under
camera
the
into
MacBook
sequencer.
body. So now you can see
that
a
we can
tag so that the
adjust or
MacBook,
key or
if you
animate
select the
things like
MacBook
the
and you
focus,
move it around,
focus distance, focal length, and
everybody
so on.
else will follow.
Right. But what I want to do
Okay,
is
so
to do
I
the
want the
transform.
screen to be the
Transform
child
means I want
of
to
the
change the location
the
of
top
the camera.
cover. So I'm going to select the
since my
screen,
starting point
drag it
of my
under the
camera
screen
is
frame,
at this location,
which is actually the
I
cover.
can go and
So now I can
establish
select the
a
cover,
keyframe.
and when I rotate right, you can see the cover will cover.
So to establish
With
a
the screen
keyframe,
following
all
along.
you need to do is to go over to
And then of course
transform,
the keyboard,
go under
I
location.
want it to
if
be,
you are
the
just
keyboard is
going
already
to
the
a
child
location
of the
keyframe,
MacBook
and then
body.
you click on the plus.
So now I
over
can
here
move this around and
to
reposition
create a
it.
keyframe.
And since this is the
If
main
you click
parent,
plus
right, I
on the
can scale
main
this up.
transform, it's going to apply keyframes for all the values.
Okay, and then
location, rotation,
again,
and
go and mess
scale.
around with the
So
materials
I'm just
later
going to do
on.
location. So click on location, and
Okay,
you will see that I
so
have
basically
a key
that
is
is
getting generated.
the
You notice
pivot
my
adjustment
key
point.
Might look a little
This
bit
is what I
different
want to
than
show
yours
you all
because I set all my
for this
keys
particular
right
video.
to start
Now
off
there are
as
many other tools right
linear.
within the
Okay,
modeling
by
editor,
default, it should
which
be,
I haven't fully
cubic.
explored. But
if you want to
for
change the
fixing a lot of
behavior,
stuff,
just
right,
right
you can
mouse click on
actually
it
come
and
over
change
here
your
and
key
then
to
change it.
cubic.
Now, if some of your faces
So
are
what this means
flipped
is
or
that
looks
your
weird,
camera
right,
will animate
you just
slowly and gradually
revise
pick up
again.
speed.
You can look
Okay,
for
rather
the
than,
option that says normals.
linear, which is a constant speed.
You can click on
Now,
normals
I'm gonna
and then you
drag
can
the
say
timeline
flip normals
so that
or
it
fix
indicates
inconsistent
frame
normals. This is a
of
very,
the
very
second.
useful tool here.
Then,
So let's
I'm
say
gonna
if you turn this
auto
thing on
key.
and then you accept, right,
So
you can
I'm
fix a
gonna
lot
set another
of
keyframe.
shading
Now, before I
problems
set
right
another
on
keyframe, I
your
want to
model.
animate the camera first.
If let's say
I'm
the
gonna
model
use
you
my
bring in right
navigation
has some
tool
faces flipped or
and
not
move the
consistent.
camera until it is at this
Okay, so
location.
that's pretty much what I want to show you. Is the pivot point and where to
Okay, use
reset
your,
it using
control
the
your mouse so that you
modeling
can change
mode.
the
Right, so with that I will
sensitivity.
end this
So
video.
once I'm at this location, you can see